Vyaktachano Gunachincho Vavande Vyasarupino Shri Guru Gaur Gandharva Govindascha Ganaisaha Jayanti Patakascha Sarvesham Gurunartino. So we are continuing with Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, purports by Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we are London, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, West London chapter, which was established in 2010 under the auspices of His Divine Grace, Om Vishnu Pad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Devi Goswami. So it is a blessed place. It is a blessed place. Because this place came specifically by His will. Specifically by His will. Pandita always says it's one of Gurudev's miracles, right? Actually, Pandita found this place. They were looking for years. Yeah. All the grown-ups, they they couldn't do it. Our little Pandita, 20-something years old. Sorry, I forgot we're supposed to behave.
Exactly.
No, but it's actually really amazing. I mean, how old were you actually? 20-something, right? Early 20s. Herself and Alita Madhupur, and also Nyasi Maharaj. We'll give Nyasi
Vishakha Didi ki.
Jai Gurudeva. Also, Nyasi Maharaj was involved too. But it was primarily Pandita and Lalita Madhava. Who found it first? You found it first.
No, it's really funny because we were all searching and we were like, I go on. There was like a nice sort of spirit about it. And then actually this space we found exactly at the same time.
Who? Yourself and Lalita?
Yeah, it was sort of like...
Wow, interesting. You separately found it.
We were sort of separately searching, and then at some point, it's really nice. Nobody...
Interesting. Wow, interesting. Wow, that's so cool. And it was around the same time that Srila Gurudev was leaving the world, so it's like... We don't know for sure if he had been, officially informed.
Yes,
right? The crossover time was...
Opinions vary on that.
Okay.
Some devotees, they say that he definitely knew, and then others, they say that he wasn't told explicitly, but it couldn't have been. The timing was so emphatic. That it couldn't. There was no doubt that basically it was that the last thing he did actually, he manifests before he disappeared.
Right.
It was the evening time, London time, when the contract got signed. And then in just a few hours later he disappeared.
So the contract was signed just a few hours before he left the world.
Literally.
Wow, amazing.
Maybe just 6.
Wow, amazing. Wow.
Good.
Wow, amazing.
Was it expected that?
No.
It wasn't.
No, right? I mean, Vishakha, she was there, but...
I mean, we were all kind of living in this bubble, I literally, it never occurred to me that Gurudev wouldn't be here one day. Even though it was obvious he was on the way out, Yeah. Somehow we were just living in this bubble and Gurudev was going to be with us forever. That's really, even though he was withdrawing more and more and he was seeing the devotees less and less. I actually was staying in Navadvip at that time, but by the Lord's arrangement, I happened to be in Calcutta at that time. I was there for a few weeks, and I say the Lord's arrangement because even Gurudev was like, "What is she doing here?" Like Gurudev didn't want me there because I had responsibilities in Navadvip, but Mahananda, Madhusudana Maharaj, was keeping me. We were working on a book project, and so he was keeping me in Navadvip and in Calcutta with Gurudev. So it was quite funny. Gurudev's like, "What is she doing here? Like she's meant to be." And Madhusudana Maharaj like kind of had to convince Gurudev. Oh, we're working. She's getting trained. She's helping a lot with this book project. So then he allowed me to stay. But I feel so grateful I could be there. It made it easier to, come to terms with, being there. But yeah, it was a total shock. I remember, and it was very funny because that night nobody slept. It was very mystical. Like nobody slept. Everyone had a difficult night. And I was actually in the other building because Gurudev had moved over to the new building down the road. And I was staying in the old quarters in the ladies' rooms, and I couldn't sleep that night. And what happened is I would always go to the morning arati. It would be like 4:30 or something. But because I couldn't sleep, then I went to sleep very late, and then I woke up I woke up around like 5:30. No, let's see. Yeah, because Gurudev left around 4:30. Then I think I woke up at 5:30. And then I was getting ready to go to the parikrama, the arti had finished. And then Madhusudana Maharaj called me and he said, "No, Gurudev has left, come over." And because normally I would have left my phone, I would have been in the arati, but because I was late, and then I was just I was in shock, and just complete shock. And I remember just getting my clothes on. It was like this. It was an ordeal, just to get okay, I got my clothes on. And then it went over. And Gurudev was Nanda Priya, she mentioned, she was one of Gurudev's servitors at the time, and she mentioned, and I also saw a few times, Gurudev would always rest on his side when he rested. But that night he laid on his back, and he looked very regal. It looked like a kind of like a very momentous, occasion, and the way he was laying out. And then everyone started doing kirtan, and when I came in, already there was a crowd gathering in his room, and there was kirtan going on all morning, and so many garlands came, and he was covered in garlands, and it was quite extraordinary. And like Saraswati Thakur, he left in Calcutta. And there were so many mystical things, because Gurudev actually knew he was going. And others may say otherwise, but Madhusudana Maharaj, he doesn't agree. He says it's all Leela, But some of his servitors told me some of the things that he said the night before. Like Deva Bandhu Nanda Priya, that Gurudev, and also in the weeks before, everyone had this special moment with Gurudev. Goswami Maharaj talks about it, there was a goodbye he had for everyone, and everyone had some special moment with him. And then that night before he left, he said, there were a few things he said that were very interesting, and one thing he said to Deva Bandhu Nanda Priya, it was a Kadashi, right? The day before. And he left on Dwadashi, Gaur Dwadashi, which was also significant, right? Rupa Goswami left on Gaur Dwadashi. Maybe Krishnadas Kaviraj also, Gaur Dwadashi. But one thing he said to them, he said that He said, I'm very happy with how Guru Maharaj's mission has spread throughout the world. I'm very happy how it has spread. And he said, and now for me, it is all Bhaja Gauranga, Bhaja Gauranga. Bhaja Gauranga means like worship Gauranga, serve Gauranga. It's like an expression, you know. So like he was saying, like now I'm going to do my own thing, you know. Now I'm going to follow my own. Like I've been taking care of all of you, and I feel like my service is done now. My duty, I've done my duty. You know, like I've been a good father, you know, taking care of everyone and spread Guru Maharaj's glories. Now I'm going to do my thing. You know, now I'm going to continue with my internal service desire. You know, that was just the night before. And he said this other thing, which is very interesting. He said, he said to them, he said, when Guru Maharaj left, I was very happy. And he said, because I had so much service. No, I had so much service. No. Which, you know, like it sounds kind of funny out of context, but it was like the night before he left, and he was trying to show them, like, this is how you should adjust yourself, right? Like now your connection will be through service. You can continue. That was just like the night before.
Wow.
It was the night before he said.
Because that's how I see this temple, like that. Like it's like very obvious, like, okay, after I leave, like now you can have the opportunity to serve. Like we can like have a connection with him through
Right.
service.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and there were other things too. I did an interview with them. It was like 3 hours or something. And those were like the most prominent things that come to mind, but there were other things too. He said, and everybody had some special moment. You had a very profound last meeting with Gurudev. That's like pretty up there, actually. I heard he quoted this last verse of the Shikshashtakam, right? Which is speaking about separation. And I only got to see Gurudev the last time by the grace of Ramachandra Prabhu. Because I was very shy, and I wouldn't go in, you know, to see, especially in that last time, because he wasn't giving darshan. And what happened is I'd gone to Nepal for my visa, and I'd gone through Calcutta, and so I came back, and then I was going to go back to Navadvip, but then Madhusudana Maharaj asked me to stay to help, and then Ramachandra, he would always kind of try and hook you up, right? If you were one of his friends, you know. He was one of the bodyguards. You know Ramachandra, big Ram. Oh, yeah. He was one of the bodyguards of Gurudev. And he would also be very protective. You know, he wouldn't let anybody in. You know. You can imagine. He's very tough, very strong. But he insisted, like, you have to go see Guru. And I was like, no. He's like, no, you have to go. So he took me, and this was maybe 2 weeks before Gurudev left. It was the last time I saw him. And then I was just in Calcutta, but I wouldn't go in to see him. Only like his personal servitor group would go. And it was kind of interesting because, like, you know, everyone had a different experience their last meeting with Gurudev, and there were some devotees where he kind of injected this feeling of separation, and you know, we've heard of some devotees, they just were crying in that last moment, Gurudev, last meeting. And Gurudev would say to sometimes the devotees, like, what was it, that if I am alive, we can meet again, like something like that, like if I'm alive, you know. And showing himself, like looking very, not well. But with me, it was actually very interesting because it was just the opposite. And he was actually sitting up in his chair, which wouldn't be very often. And he was just like really light and casual and very friendly and it was very funny. Like in retrospect, I think it was very funny. It was almost like he's playing this thing with everyone, like showing this to this person, showing this to that person. And he was just like asking me about my visa, like my trip out, and he was like, so how much longer can you stay? Your visa's okay, and just like very, smiling, and it was very interesting. But in retrospect, my feeling is like he was saying like, this isn't a big deal, like everything's just gonna continue. Like I'm just going behind the screen, like I'm just going in this room over here. Nothing's actually changing. Your service is going to go on, and your connection with me is going on. That was my feeling in retrospect. And then we brought him to Navadvip. And then that whole day was that day was probably, like sometimes when difficult things happen now, I think, well, it's not such a big deal. Like the worst thing already happened. Like it doesn't get worse than that. The day of your Guru Maharaj leaving the world. That was probably the heaviest day I've ever experienced. And they brought Guru. I kind of just couldn't really deal with it actually. I went into the office. Like others can tell you everything that happened. They were even like recording it, maybe live streaming it. They're still up like on YouTube and everything. But I couldn't even be there, So I was in the office and
What is
like taking care of Gurudev's body, his form, his divine form. They brought in front of the deities, and then they bathed him. They brought him in front of Srila Sridham. I had some vague impression. I would kind of come out every now and again and see what was going on. They brought him in front of the deities, and they brought him in front of Srila Sridhar Maharaj's samadhi, and they bathed him, they dressed him. Then they had to prepare the ground, digging the earth, and then placing his body, and placing the sand, and like that. It was like a full day thing, We probably arrived around we went on with kirtan for several hours in Calcutta, and then we probably arrived. Saraswati Didi was there. And we probably arrived around 10 or in the morning, something like that, 9, 10, maybe 11 because it's like 3-hour drive. And then, so it was like a whole day thing, And then I remember like people were like flying in, like all over the place and traveling, and, from across India, from across the world, and I remember Madhusudana Maharaj was asking me to, at one point some devotees had arrived, and he asked me to take care of their rooms or something with some management with devotees arriving, and I started cursing at him. That's how out of it I was. It's like Gurudev just left, and you're asking me to you can't think about anything else right now. And nobody ate, you just didn't think about anything to think about. And then right at the last moment, after they placed Gurudev in the earth and they covered, then just at that moment there was this very auspicious rain, that Deva Brishti, or no, I think Pushpa Brishti. There are different types of rain, they have different names. Pushpa's flower-like rain. Is considered very auspicious. Very light, gentle rain started falling in that last. Just when they put the ends, the final covering on top. And then the next day, there was a full day of Hari Katha, and that helped everyone a lot. All the sannyasis just speaking like all day long. And yeah.
It's beautiful how he got to have a moment with everyone.
Yeah.
It's like how you said, like he knew, so he wanted to.
Yeah. There's this video that Satya Sundar Prabhu made, right? We'll try and find it for you. Satya Sundar is Avadut Maharaj's brother. He's a filmmaker, and he did these little interviews with some of the devotees, and that was kind of like the theme running through that, like he had a goodbye, a special goodbye for everyone, or one of the themes in there. He had a special goodbye for everyone. Like Janardhan Maharaj mentioned how, like Gurudev referred to him as his best friend, like there was some special moment that he had for everyone. In like the last few weeks before he left. Yeah, there were many things. There was also another interesting thing, is that there was this verse, you know about this, of course, of Madhavendra Puri, which is also very significant. The Sandhya Vandana Bhajam, and Gurudev became very absorbed in this verse in the last few weeks, and he had the devotees print it out and put it on his wall, and the verse, it's kind of like a goodbye. It's kind of like an apology, and it's saying, it's a prayer by Madhavendra Puri, this mood of apology. Please forgive me, I cannot follow all of my regular religious duties. My morning, noon, and evening prayers, and this worship and that worship. Because in the Vedic culture, there are, especially for Brahmins, there are so many things you're meant to follow. So in this verse, Madhavendra Puri is saying, please forgive me, I cannot follow this ritual and that ritual and this practice and that practice. But I feel that I can attain everything I need by meditating on Sri Krishna. Actually, is the word name Govinda used? I can't remember. But he's saying, now, there's this something higher that's pulling me, and I can't follow all of my standard duties, religious duties. So please excuse me. And to me, it just feels like so classic Gurudev, so humble, exactly. It's and he chanted this verse repeatedly, and he had it. If you pass in Prapana Jivanamrita, you can find it. Your leg's gone to sleep. Sandhya Vandana Bhajam Astu.
What's the name?
Prapana, you have to know that's the main book. It's in front of you, in the beautiful book. On the shelf.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
No,
This is Prapana Jivanamrita. Okay, we're going to have to give our apologies to Chaitanya Charitamrita today. But yes, it feels so in line with Gurudev's mood. At the end, he's saying to all of his disciples, his followers, please forgive me now. I cannot continue with my duties to you. Let's see, here it is, 7:17. Oh, we're almost out of time. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj's illumination to this verse is Opadika Dharma Sambandha Chidascha. All connection with formal religion is severed. Sandhya Vandana Bhajam Astu Bhavato Bosnana Tubhyam Namo Bodeva Pitaras Chatarpana Vido Naham Kshama Kshamyatam Yacha Kapi Nishadya Yadavakulo Tam Sasyakam Sadvishaha Smaram Smaram Agam Harami Taranam Manye Kim Anyena Me. O morning, noon, and evening prayers, may all good be unto you. O daily ablutions. Ablutions is referring to like ritualistic bathing. Because bathing is like a sacred thing, actually. Water is sacred, right? In the Vedic culture, it's a whole thing. Like really, like the strict, very strict persons, they won't bathe, they naked, they'll go bathing like with a cloth around them. It's like when you chant all these mantras, like this whole thing, you know. O daily ablutions, my respects unto you. O demigods, O forefathers, may you forgive me. I cannot follow the injunctions to offer you libations, some type of offering. Wherever I may be, I shall eradicate my sins, constantly contemplating that jewel of the Yadu dynasty, Krishna, the slayer of Kamsa, and I think this is sufficient for me. What more could I ever want than this? And this is Madhavendrapuri, Japuri, which is very, we've been talking about him, Madhavendrapuri. Japuri. Yesterday we were talking about him, he has a very unique position. He's the real origin of our sampradaya, who first manifests this mood of divine love. You remember yesterday we were talking about him. So this is his verse, This was Gurudev's meditation before he left. And I'm remembering now some other stories, devotees shared, You know who had a very special goodbye with Gurudev was Kamala Nayan. Yeah. You heard about that, very special. She was a Venezuelan young woman she was very devoted to the cow seva in Navadvip. She was like giving her blood and her life breath and everything to take care of. We had like 80 cows, and she would be there every day, she would come and spend like 6 months at a time, and she'd raise a lot of money and, to buy medicine and everything they needed, and she would do these like fundraisers and for them, and then for physically working very hard in the Goshala.
Very strong. Very
tough, yeah. And very like simple and devotional, her nature. Very straightforward, straight shooter. She had a very special moment with Gurudev. She was arriving from Delhi, and of course, this is maybe like January. Gurudev left in March, right? Maybe this was February. Actually, I don't know. It could have been early March. And she was thinking she wouldn't be able to see Gurudev, and she came in. It was a long, like this kind of hall room that Gurudev was in his last time, and she came in like right at the end, and she was thinking, oh, she won't be able to speak with him, and so she like just gave her dandavat and was going to go out, and Saraswati was there. She can tell the story much better. And Gurudev like motioned, he wanted her to come closer, and so Saraswati called her over, and so she came up to Gurudev, and Gurudev started crying, and he said, I think first I think she'd like shown him, she had some report or something to show him to do with the Goshala, the cows. And then he started crying at a certain point, like, Gurudev crying. And she started crying, right? And then Gurudev said that you're taking care of my cows. And like expressing this deep appreciation, you're taking care of my cows. And then he told her, he wanted her to pat him on the head, which is huge. in the Vedic culture. That's normally something only a senior will do to a junior. And she was like, what? Like, how can I do that? And she's looking around like Ashamarj and Saraswati, and then Gurudev's telling you to do it, so she went to go and pat his head. And then he started chanting a verse, which I haven't been able to find out what it was. She told me Saraswati had a recording, but Saraswati hasn't been able to find it, unfortunately. So, but it was a verse, something about Mahaprabhu, I think. He started chanting at that moment. And so it was like and everyone was shocked in the room, like who was there. Like the Gurudev's crying, and she's crying, and there's like this profound exchange going on between them. So, yeah, and others, they had these very profound moments with Gurudev. But, it was very interesting because, one of the points about this is like, like Kamala was like one of she wasn't like, like a leading devotee or one of the sannyasis, but she's like one of Gurudev's daughters, like one of the servitors, and so like that he gave her so much special attention. It was very outstanding. And also, it was like, and I think Kamala also expressed this to me, that it was like he was saying, it was like his way of expressing appreciation for all of his disciples. Like this is how much I care for you. This is how much love I have for all of you. Something like that. And there was something else I wanted to say too, but I can't remember. Oh, and yeah, another interesting thing is that Saraswati said, sorry Saraswati, I'm quoting you so much, and you're in the next room. Saraswati Devi. Kamala told me, she told her afterwards, Gurudev had, for some days beforehand, Srila Gurudev had expressed that he wanted to cry. That he wanted to cry. He was saying, but I cannot cry. I want to cry, but I cannot cry. And for like a few days he was saying that. And then in this moment with her, with Kamala, it was like that relief came, and he this is the other thing that she expressed. Was it Kamala or maybe it was Kishori, and one of the servitors around Gurudev maybe expressed that there was this feeling of Gurudev expressing separation from his disciples. Like that. Like there was this sadness in him, which is very, very moving, very deeply moving. Sadness and gratitude and like very, very deep feeling of love and appreciation for his disciples. Jai Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Okay, stop there for today. Today's our Saturday program. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Namaha. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Namaha. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Namaha. Janavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Madana Mohana Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Radhara Shivasani Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Dasa Raghunatha Jai Gosai Kori Charana Vandana Yaha Vaite Vinana Shabishta Purana Jai Gosai Jai Muita Dasa Sabada Padarenu Mona Panchalasa Anila Charana Sebi Bhakta Sanivasa Janame Janame Mohe Abhinasha Jai Gosai Jabe Braje Koyo Vasa Radha Krishna Nitya Leela Manira Prakasha Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavana Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Bhajai Amana Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Padma Kori Asha Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Padma Kori Asha Hari Ram Sankirtan Kore Narottama Dasa Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Jai Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Shri Guru Ranga Radha Ki Hari Ji Ki Jai Shri Rupanula Guru Varga Ki Jai Nantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Hari Ram Sankirtan Ki Jai Jai Gaur Premanande
Shri Yuta Vishakha Devi ki jai.